If you were looking to stage 3 your BMW S55, B58 or N55, this is the video for you. This is how an N55 turbo works. No power. Now on all my BMWs that I've owned, that's the 140, the M2, the 240i and the current M4, I've never gone past stage 2. And stage 2 on these sort of cars usually just involve fitting some downpipes that we fitted previously here at GG Autos. And I know people don't love the word stages, but this stage 3, in terms of the BMW world anyway, usually involves upgrading the turbos. And we have the DRW turbos to be fitted today. And this is where DRW Performance come in, and you have 3 options. So there is no real excuse as to why you shouldn't get turbos. You've got the stock upgraded turbos, which are the same as the OEM ones, with just better bearings and better longevity. You probably will never have an issue with them. And that is an option for somebody that doesn't want to go huge power, but definitely needs the turbos. So then you have these, which are the 650s, which speak for themselves. You aim to make around 650 on these with just pump fuel alone. You can see they're a bit bigger in here. Again, upgraded thrust bearings, you name it. And then you have the daddy, the 700s, which again, probably are a bit bigger than this, but probably a bit more lag than what I need for somebody that's gonna use the car on the road and on the track. The 650s do it all for me. And Tommy has actually said that this is quite a labor intensive job, which is fine. He has done about 3 or 4 of these already this month, and he's got a crank up going on. So in terms of the S55, the boy knows what he's doing. And as you can see, you have to put fresh gaskets, fresh bolts. You can see you've got the crush, I think these are called, what are these called, Tommy? Downpipe gaskets, the whole shebang. You've got these little crush, well, I don't know what they're called, but yeah, loads of stuff needs to get changed. So we're gonna crack on with the job, and we'll catch up with you guys once the turbos are off the car, so we can see what the big boys are saying against little man.
So Tommy got straight to work removing the bits from the underneath. This is gonna be quite a job.
So we have got to the point now where Tommy is just about to put on the engine holder, bracket, brace. And as you can see here, there has been quite a few things removed from the underneath and also from the top, such as your intake. You've got the engine cover here, you've got the bracing across the top, and as mentioned, the underneath bits here. Because unfortunately, the way that BMW have made the S55 engine is when you need to remove a turbo, you can't take it out at the top and you can't just drop it at the bottom. You're gonna have to remove the entire subframe. So as mentioned, labor intensive, probably an understatement.
Now I class myself as quite handy when it comes to doing stuff, DIY stuff anyway, on a B58 or an N55, but the S55 needs a ton of stuff removing to get to the turbos. So the engine brace was whacked on so we could then lower the subframe to get access to the turbies.
So as you can see, the subframe is now off. Oh, Lord have mercy. So as you can see, the subframe has been removed, and also you've got some steering rack components as well. So like I said, labor intensive. We've got a bracket holding the engine up as Tommy is under here removing the turbos. We also had to drop the coolant as well. Yeah, Tommy's not just taking a #1 in there, that is coolant we've managed to drain out, because something I didn't know, which maybe some of you do know, is that the turbos actually have both oil and coolant running, not through them, but running through the center here, keeping everything nice and cooled and lubricated.
And talking all things lubrication for the nation, these turbos were wet as cheese.
So as you can see, we no longer have turbos. We literally have a S55 NA, and we have the turbos here on the bench. And I've left Tommy to crack on because, like I said, it is a very labor intensive job. But now we're halfway through the job. I think it's good to introduce ourselves to Tommy again. Tommy, how you doing?
Very well, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. You got something just above your eyebrow, just on your
Probably
right.
all the shite off of your car.
Language! And in terms of differences, I know we can't really make too much of a mess here, but that is quite significant, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you can just tell by looking at it the size difference between the two.
It is quite significant, and again, it's
You.
the same on this one.
You.
Here we go,
It's
here we
you.
go, that's
I'm
you.
the guy who tells you not to
GT1.
worry about.
The other thing that I was going to ask you about is you were saying that these turbos, despite being quite a high mileage car, are in good nick. There's no real...
Actually, yeah, I mean, to be fair, we sort of, you know, when we done the downpipes and stuff, which was
said
how
that.
long ago now?
Probably about 8 months, no, 6 months.
Longer than that.
What,
6 months?
downpipes?
Yeah, we must have done them like a year ago.
Actually, yes. Tell a
It's
lie.
like a year ago.
Yes,
and even
it's
then,
been
when
a
I
year
looked at
stage
them,
two.
they did look good.
Yep.
But then, you know, visually, I mean, there was no play in them, obviously, because you can see there was no play in them then.
Yeah.
Which is obviously always a good sign. But I have had some where they visually look like
Like
fine, like they're not leaking from the core. I mean, obviously that's just leaked from the intake pipe seal, which is not from the core. But these always looked good, so I was always a bit, you know, and there was no play in the actual shafts themselves, where I've had some where they've been absolutely completely dry, but they do pass a lot of oil, but then they've obviously had play. Now these are off. There's literally no play in the shafts, which, you know, which we always sort of knew at the age and the mile of this car, it was going to be the valve stem seals. But,
Yeah, 100%.
you know, you wanted to go down the route of upgrading the turbos anyway, and I said, look, while the turbos are off, we're going to 100% confirm if the valve stem seals are leaking or not.
And are they?
Which brings us to when the valve stem seals are gone. It'd usually be when they're just left idling, and then you give it a bootful and
it
chuck a
flows
load
out.
of smoke out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that is something that's probably going to have to be done on the cards. And as you're mentioning, it's not a life and death sort of thing where if you run it another 100 miles, you're going to break the engine.
No, I mean,
but
it's going to be all right.
something-
You want to get it done sooner than later, because obviously what's going to happen is the oil burning in the turbos is going to turn into carbon build up on the new turbos. So obviously you don't want to prolong leaving the valve stem seals as they are.
Okay, and in terms of turbo versus valve stem seals, turbo, you said you probably day and a half or a day job. What is it? What sort of timescales on the turbo in terms of getting it done?
So it's in and out in a day on the turbos.
And valve stem seals?
It is like a day and a half.
Day and a
job.
half,
It is
so
a
2
lot.
days.
It's, yeah, literally the whole top end timing chain off, and all the cams out, the
Okay.
eccentric shaft, everything has to come out
Fair
to
play.
gain access, and do the valve stem seals in situ with the cylinder head on. Yeah, the wastegate's inside.
There we go. Hey, Tommy, you can't be
which
doing
is-
that sort of stuff on this channel, bro. I'm just going in there, 2 fingers in that, bro. There we go.
Yeah, so that's the wastegate.
Yep.
And then the actuator controls the.
So the main
flat, yeah.
things on the turbo are mainly, is it the inlet where it's taken in the air? That's the main changes on a hybrid to a stock. In terms of the hot side, it kind of stays the same.
Yeah, so the exhaust wheel are enlarged as well. If you
Okay.
If you look at
So that
these.
changes. Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's-
can see.
Yeah.
But in
no,
terms of the
definitely bigger.
wastegate, that sort of stuff. Just
Yeah, all
needs
the
to stay
wastegate
same.
it's all the same. Yeah, it's all in an OEM manifold and stuff.
Perfect.
So,
Now, when it comes to these sort of jobs, removing parts is always easier because you can just whiz them off and there's nothing really to think about as long as you keep all the bolts and obviously change out gaskets and whatnot if required. Now, fitting them is slightly different. You got to think about torque specs, the lot. But fair play to this legend because he was on it all day. Every single O-ring and gasket was replaced, so we had a fresh install, and look at that turbo, freshly built up and definitely not looking like this anymore. And the revised inlets that come with the DRW turbos means that we no longer have this actuator full of grease whenever I look into the engine bay, but in the engine bay we're going to have to sort out these valve stem seals sooner rather than later. But for now, I'm really going to be enjoying the new S55 goodness thanks to Tommy at GG Autos and of course DRW Performance, because the fresh snails were on, subframe back on, and of course the exhaust before going up top to put the intakes and the charge pipe back on, and no errors after our wastegate actuation test, and we're good to go.
And it is a wrap. Here at G&G Autos, the DRW 650 turbos have been fitted. Not gonna lie, it is a seriously intensive job, so hat off to the man. If you are in the Essex area or anywhere down south, make sure you hit him up. Now, it is currently pushing on, oh, the wife just texted me, hold on. It's currently pushing on 5 o'clock. As you can see there, it's 5:10. Now, we will lose a bit of light, but I promise you, if I don't in this video give you a first impressions video, I will definitely give you guys a first impressions video. And as you can see, he's a busy man. You can see he's got an M3T on the, actually that's his M3T. Is that your M3T there, Tommy? Okay. But it doesn't work, guys, at the minute, and it's a good reason why. I'll give you 2 guesses why. You can see we've got another F80 M3, another S55 there. We've got a B58 here, and you've got an N55 over there. So the chap's busy, so make sure you hit him up if you want to get booked in any time soon. But yeah, stay tuned for the first drive of my 650. Okay, you know what? I'm going to put stage 2, boot mode 3, hybrid map on it. I don't know where that runs, but it's definitely more than 600. So stay tuned, because I'm also going to get a custom tune with meth at some point. I'm talking too much. You just want to get out there and drive it now. Let's go. Get a bit of traffic, second gear, loads of it. What the?